It's okay, you know, it's starting to get to that point where the newness of getting back on the field and getting, you know, excited about doing the practicing is kind of worn off, and yet there's no real light at the end of the tunnel because we're not even halfway through 2 days in fall camp. So we hit a little bit of a wall this morning, but still got a lot of work done. Got some live work for the first time this camp, which was good to see. You know, we need to find out who can tackle, who can break tackles, all that type of stuff. Bright spot was the young corners. You know, we had 2 or 3 of those young corners really step up and make some plays today. Reggie Porter, nice interception, and did some really good things. Whittingham Freeman, although he's not a young corner, he's a junior, but you know, after missing last year, he's still shaking the rust off. But he made some nice plays today. So that was the most encouraging thing of practice is the corner play. But it's still got a long ways to go. We need to continue in the direction that it's heading.
What does 2-a-days bring out in guys that you really look for as far as
toughness, who can sustain and has the mental toughness to push through and not get in survival mode and not just being able to play at a high level from start to finish. And not everybody can do that. And so it really gives you some separation of guys that have that toughness and those that still need to develop.
Back to the corners for a minute. Were you mixing and matching kind of with your 1s and 2s on the corners?
Well, yeah, we lost a couple. You know, Keith McGill went out and was shaken up a little bit, and Davion Orfei was not available. So we were down to 6 corners. So we were just rotating them through there and trying to even out the reps.
Anything serious with either one of those guys? I saw Davion over in the pit. I didn't see Keith at all.
Hopefully not. Yeah, he's out being evaluated. It shouldn't be serious, but we'll have to wait for the evaluation to come back. But yeah, with the rest of the guys that were still available, we just rode them through there by reps rather than 1s and 2s.
How's McGill coming in his weight loss to get down to where you need him at corner?
Good. He's about halfway there.
Okay.
And so he's got another 6 or 8 pounds to go.
With these injuries that you're dealing with on defense, are there any offensive guys that you see that you might think about moving over to defense?
Not at this point in time, but if we get any more people go down on D, we may have to think about that. And it depends. You know, if guys go down and it's with things that they're going to come back in a few days or a week, then you don't make a move. If it's a longer-term injury, then you got to think about maybe getting somebody ready just in case.
Where's Senny at? I mean, he's been in the pit the last couple of days, but I mean, is that a long-term thing or is it day-to-day?
It's a day-to-day thing, but I say day-to-day, it'll probably be at least another 3 or 4 days, but nothing serious, calf strain. So.
Okay.
With Rashawn Hooker having to medical retire, you guys mentioned that you're going to sit down, look at other possibilities to move to safety. Do you guys do anything like that today?
We brought in Clarence Smith, who is a young player, a brand new freshman. He's a young kid. He's 17 years old, out of Arizona. We're slated to gray shirt. We were not going to bring him in until January, but with the loss of Rashawn, we also lost Moses Folahola. He got disqualified medically as well, and so that was just yesterday. So we've lost two medical disqualifications. So we brought in Clarence, and we'll probably bring in one more in the next day or two to take the place of Moses.
Was that another concussion situation?
No, it wasn't concussion. It was a different issue.
With the live action today, did you get a better feel for how your quarterbacks are performing?
Yeah, and we'll have to study the tape and get a look at the details, on tape. But they're all heading in the right direction. And each one has a little bit different skill set. Micah Thomas is really fast and able to pull the ball on that zone read and get around the edge. And so they each bring something different to the table. But yeah, we need to start to see some separation, and now's about the time that should happen with the live work beginning.
How much progress has Brandon Cox made from springtime till now?
A lot. He's made a lot of progress. He's especially when you realize he only practiced, I think it was 5 practices in the spring, up to 15. And so he didn't really have much of a chance in spring, and what he's doing now relative to his experience here is very impressive.
It looks like he worked a lot, and I talked to him, worked on his accuracy and his throwing a lot this summer.
He did. His arm's gotten stronger. It's still got a ways to go, but his arm strength is definitely stronger than it was in spring. And he's a hard worker. He's a guy that puts in the time.
Any chance that we'll see Brandon in his own Wildcat type of package?
It could happen. It's too early to make those decisions, but he's certainly athletic enough where if we do go that direction with him, I think it would be a plus for us.
Coach Erickson just barely mentioned that he's not satisfied with the tempo. He says it's still too slow. Will you talk a little bit about tempo and what's going on?
The tempo in the live work slowed down, and when you get in live work, that's the reason why you run high tempo, is so you can force the defense to be on their heels and wear them down. all of a sudden we're getting live work and people are standing around, walking around, and so it's not what we're after. It looks great versus the scouts, and when we're doing the going through the teaching part of it. But in the live work today, the tempo was probably the most disappointing thing of the day.
You suppose maybe that's a little bit of a holdover from last year's offense?
Could be a little bit of that, but whatever it is, we got to figure it out and get back to playing fast like we hope to. I mean, that's one of our objectives is to play fast, and we certainly do not play fast in the scrimmage situation today.
And do you put that on the quarterbacks? Are they the ones that keep the tempo, or is that a unit
more
thing?
On the O-line. The
Okay.
O-line. Nothing happens till the O-line gets set. So if the O-line's walking around and not set, nothing else happens. And so they've got to get lined up and get set so we can get everything going. And so I put it more on the O-line than any other position.
Talk about Hunter Dimmick a little bit. I mean, we saw him running with the ones a lot today. Where's he at, and what kind of position? He's looking more D-tackle at the end.
He's right in the mix, and he's kind of a tweener. He's 280 pounds, so he can play either. He's just a redshirt freshman, so we think he's got a lot of good football ahead of him, and he's still developing. He's not as big and as strong as he's going to be, but he's a guy that can, depending on the scheme, where he can play either inside or outside, and that's good to have that flexibility with a guy like that who you can move around and utilize his versatility.
I want to go back to this tempo. You put it on the offensive line.
To get it started. Yeah, they got it, because if the quarterback and the receivers are ready, the offensive line's still milling around, nothing can happen. We can't get into the cadence and get things going until the offensive line is set. And so they need to do a better job of, once the play is over, immediately locating the football, where the play has ended, get on the ball, get set, so the quarterback can start directing traffic.
Doesn't Travis need to start yelling and screaming a little bit and getting these guys where they need to be, though, being more of a vocal leader?
Travis is getting the signals and got some things responsibility-wise with the skill people, and so no, he doesn't have to get the offensive line lined up. They got to get lined up. They don't care about formation. Offensive line has nothing to do with the formation. They're in the same spots every single time. And so while Travis is gathering information from the sideline, they need to get set and be ready to go. So we're not waiting on them. And I'm not putting it all on the O-line, but that's where it starts. That's where the tempo part of it starts.
You mentioned with the corners that you were kind of mixing and matching today. Are you doing the same thing with the safeties? We saw Rowe with Charles Henderson out there with the ones, and Tyron Morris Edwards and Quay Chapuis with the twos. Is it kind of mix and match?
Well, right now Tyron and Quay are running twos, and Charlie and Eric would be the ones if we play today. Tyron's right in the mix there with Charlie, battling for that spot. Quay is probably the next guy up. Eric's the guy that is definitely earned a spot to this point in time, as long as he keeps playing the way he's playing. But Tyron and Charlie had a good competition, and so you've seen that flip-flop back and forth a little bit.
Is Rowe with the ones there with Charlie and Eric? Is it Eric still at the free safety and Charlie at the strong, or is it flipped?
They're interchangeable. Interchangeable depending on the coverage and the scheme. Eric's got really good man coverage skills, and so if we get in a man coverage situation in our 43 personnel, or he has to go cover a skill guy, that'll put the guy playing opposite him in the post as the free safety. So it just matters on the call and